Hey again, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. I am Mary Guy, and I am here to be transparent, vulnerable, and honest with you guys as it relates to self-discipline and my growth towards meeting my monthly goals. So I am here just to recap again. The whole initiative behind these videos is for me to, first of all, hold myself accountable. Second of all, as a different strategy visually for me to go back to and hold myself further accountable. It's just a new form of journaling. It's just like journaling in my notebook, what I've done before, but I'm just doing it in the form of these videos to capture and track my progress. And then hopefully also, since it's out here for everyone to view, hopefully someone can relate to the day-to-day things that I share and it helps someone else as well as it's helping myself. So that's the whole gist of my monthly goal videos and my self-discipline initiative to become more disciplined in that area. If this is your first video from my YouTube channel, I do have previous episodes, and I actually created a playlist that goes right along with the order in which I've uploaded these videos day by day. It starts all the way back into like an intro video of self-discipline, key aspects of self-discipline, how to implement self-discipline, why is it important, the benefits of self-discipline. I've shared a lot of things, including my goals, and then also within my goals, I'm sharing some of my experiences. For example, in some of the previous videos for this week, I've shared some dieting strategies that I've used in the past. I've shared different tips on routines and habits. And today, that's what I'm going to continue talking about, routines and habits. On the previous video, I talked about what they were, like differentiating between behaviors, routines, and habits. And today, I'm going to look more into how do you develop those habits and routines and so forth. So I'm going to be sharing a lot of information towards the end, so stay tuned. I'm going to start off first with sharing with you my progress on my May 2025 monthly goals. So stay tuned so that you can see whether or not I've made great progress on my 6 goals that I've set out to accomplish by the end of this month. Goals are a set of 6 things that I've written down to accomplish, and I try to keep my list very short because I want to make it something reasonable that I can actually accomplish by the end of a month, maybe 4 or 5 weeks. This generally is a longer month because we have 31 days, but I'm going to try to keep going forth. I'm going to keep it no more than 6 goals in a month to try to accomplish. So my goal number 1 for this month is to earn at least $2,000 from a supplementary income that I have on the side. My goal number 2 for this month is to pay off a Chase credit card. I actually have a balance currently of $13.66 and 7 cents. I'm just going to check and make sure that that remains the same because I have talked about when it is due on the 25th. And, with the credit card, there's interest that you would have to pay as it accrues. So maybe, let's see if there's anything that I've actually purchased recently. Yeah, and then you also have to keep track of your recent purchases because it could potentially like delay showing up on there. And then I have the APR for this one and I can get more in detail about that later, like the different APRs and what that means and strategies on paying off your credit card. Goal number 3 is to lose at least 10 pounds. My starting weight was 239. I actually weighed myself initially prior to making this video on April the 27th. That was the first video that I made. And I've shown my progress over the past week on reaching this goal. And I'm going to show that again for you guys if you haven't seen it from the previous videos. Goal number 4 is to start a SQL course on Microsoft to advance skill. And I talked more about that in one of the intro videos. So you can kind of go back and watch that if you want to see why is it. And I'll be sharing more about it in the future videos. Goal number 5 is to read, study, and meditate on discipline. And goal number 6 is to implement discipline in all areas of my life. All right, so let's start off with my progress here. So how am I progressing on goal number one, which is to earn at least $2,000 from my supplementary income? And again, hopefully at the end of the month, when I reach my goal or exceed my goal, I will share what that particular income is, just in case anybody out there is like, okay, she was able to earn this amount of money in these amount of days, and I probably could do this as well. So I would share that with you guys towards the end of the month. So stay tuned for those details. For the first day of this month, I actually earned $63.29. Second day, I earned $132.83. Third day, $169.39. So that was a total of almost $400 that first week, just shy of $30, which brings down the rest of the money that I need to make is about $16.30, which on average would be $407 for the next 4 weeks. So on Sunday this week, I did not get time. I did not have time. Some days you may not have time. I mean, we have other things in our schedule, other things in our life that take up space and time. So it's not realistic for me to believe that I'm able to earn every single day for this particular venture. Same thing for Monday, wasn't able to earn. However, on Tuesday, I picked back up and was able to earn $56.75. And today, drum roll, I earned a total of $76.12. I was aiming to try to earn at least $100 because I know that I'm trying to kind of on average earn $407 each week. Because again, if I take that number in red, 1629.39 divided by 4, it tells me that I should be aiming to earn about $477.35. If I take that $470.35 and I were to subtract what I earned on Tuesday, that brings it down to $350.60. And if I were to subtract what I made today, that brings it down to $274.48. So I only have 2 more days this week that I'm able to earn income from this venture. So I need to divide that $274.48 by 2 to give me a number to aim for tomorrow and Friday. So I need to be at least making on average or somewhere close to it $137.24 in order to meet the $407 goal that would average me out each week. Now, let's just say I don't meet that average. That's okay as long as I meet closer to it, because day by day things fluctuate. Week by week things fluctuate. And I know this week is one of those short weeks where I'm not able to earn much. I don't have many days that I can actually attempt to earn, because on Saturday, I will be traveling for Mother's Day weekend, and then I'll be coming back on Sunday. Now that following week, because I've already tracked in my notebook the days that I'm aiming for, on next week, I'm actually should be able to earn just about every day that week. So that might actually compensate for the possibility that I don't reach that $407 goal. So this is just an example of, me kind of talking through my goals. You could do the same and kind of like adjusting, knowing that these are just benchmarks on how to reach my goal, but it's not set into stone. And sometimes, depending on your goal, it may fluctuate, and you got to be able to adapt, adjust, figure out a plan in your mind quickly. I just did the math. From what I have and what I need in order to reach the goal. So it kind of gives me a map or a vision on, okay, if that didn't work, then I got this way that could work. And so I'm pretty much figuring it out and pretty much making it impossible for me to not reach my goal, because I'm maneuvering around the different obstacles that I'm having, which is something that I talked about on previous videos. when it comes to the key aspects of self-discipline and how to develop self-discipline. You can go back and watch those. But yeah, so that's a good example. So I have a game plan. I'm still, even though these days I would have wanted on average $100 because that would just made it less of an effort for the following 2 days. But I still did pretty good because I'm up to 132. So that's actually pretty good to me. Okay. So that's my progress on that goal. Goal number 2 is to pay off the Chase credit. I'm not due for that until May the 10th, which I've talked about previously on. These are just benchmark dates. I've actually just got paid. I get paid bi-weekly. So I'm going to have to rework my budget, and I kind of share with you guys how I do my budget. I'll share different tips on budgeting, kind of moving forward from the routine and habit. Because I would want to kind of gather how much money I have, things that I have on my budget sheet that I know I need to get paid. Like, you got to pay for your housing, you got to pay for utilities, you got to pay. There's certain things that you just have to pay. Those are fixed things. So I got to work those out first. And then also, yeah, a credit card is something I need to pay, but it's kind of like you can kind of ration it out because they have a minimum payment. And I kind of talk more in details about that. So it'll make better sense on how I budget, and it could be serve as a tip for anyone out there who would want to implement a better budgeting strategy. So I'm not due for that until the end of this week. So maybe by Saturday, I'll have done that, and I can share with you guys how I actually some of my budgeting strategies and so forth. Goal number 3 is to lose at least 10 pounds. I weighed myself on April 27th, as I stated earlier, and I weighed 239 pounds. Well, that's 10 pounds away from my goal weight by the end of this month. At the beginning of this month, even though I already had a starting weight that I'm using, I still wanted to weigh myself. May the 1st was on Thursday. So in between Sunday and Thursday, that's a difference of 1, 2, 3, 4 days. In 4 days, I actually was able to lose 2 pounds. That's a pretty good start for my routine. And so that means I only had 8 more pounds to lose before the end of this month. And what I've done is I'm just using a week by week checkpoint. So every Sunday I'm going to weigh myself and track and see if I reached my projected goal. How I came up with this projected goal is by taking these 8 pounds and dividing it by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I divided by 5 because I'm actually going to track it all the way to June the 1st just to give me a starting point for the next month on where I am with my weight goal. So I divided 8 by 5. So that gave me 1 6/10 of a pound that I need to lose each week. So I just subtracted 237 minus 1.6. That gave me this number for May the 4th. Took this number, subtracted about 1.6, gave me this number for May the 11th, and so forth and so on. So that's how I came up with my projected goal. So on this Sunday, when I weighed myself, I actually was below the projected goal for that day by 2/10 of a pound, which is pretty good deal. So with that being said, that brought me down to where I only have to lose 6.2 pounds. So I could do a similar projection. And I think I've already calculated this, and it was like 1.5. So I have 4 more weeks left to lose, and I need to lose a total of 6.2 of a pound. So I can take 6.2 divided by 4, and that gives me on average how much I need to lose each week, which is 1.55 pounds just to stay on track. So I'm interested to see what my weight will be on Sunday. So I have to be very conscious in order to make this goal work. I really have to be very disciplined and conscious on what I'm choosing to eat and being consistent with my working out. So not overtaking or not doing too much. And so I shared in one of my previous videos, the dieting strategies. If you haven't watched that, go back and watch that. I share with you what my strategy is from, this year and on, what my strategy is to kind of shed off these pounds and get healthier and more fit and just having a better improvement in my health. So that's goal number 3. Goal number 4, start a SQL course in Microsoft to advance skills. So my goal here is just pretty simple. It's just trying to get myself started and just seeing how I do with progressing through that. Well, so far I was on track on module 1. I set me some projected dates on what day I would project that I need to start on this, on the different modules underneath this course. There are a total of 6 modules to complete this course, and each module have a set of units. Module 1, I think, has 9 units. I kind of share a screen share of that in one of the previous videos on the website that I'm going to complete this goal, which is learn.microsoft.com. And I also have it linked in the description below underneath the video. So if you want to kind of look at some of the different course offerings that they have, it's actually free. And so you can kind of learn different Microsoft skills. So I'm on track. I was on track to start it. But as you can see, today is a day that I projected myself to complete it. And I have not completed module 1. I am still on the exercise, the last 2 units of module 1, which is the exercise where you actually implement some of the things that it shares. And then you take an assessment at the end. And I haven't done that. So I might be bumped to the end of this week pretty much. But I have room to get caught up. And on top of that, I've already met my goal because my goal says to start. So I'm going to try to just naturally flow through this and just kind of keep track in my mind how I'm doing with this. So then for the following month, I can make a plan based on what my natural flow is. If I feel like I didn't have much time, well, how can I sketch a little bit more time in my day-to-day schedule to make sure that this happens, or make sure that I make progress on this. So those are some of the things that I'm going to plan to do to kind of better help me complete this goal. Goal number 5 was to read, study, and meditate on discipline. I shared with you what resonated with me in the book that I'm reading, The Power of Self-Discipline, which I also have linked in the description below. One of the things from week 1 that resonated with me was with self-discipline, and the average person can rise further than intelligence and talent alone can take them, and the ordinary person can become extraordinary. On the other hand, an educated, talented person without self-discipline will rarely rise above mediocrity. So this statement just resonated with me because it shows me how important it is to master self-discipline. Not having self-discipline could be the very reason that you're hindering or that is preventing you from reaching your potential. And so I don't want anything on my side to prevent me from reaching my potential. So I need to do the best that I can do to offset that. So what better way than to work on having better self-discipline? It's just going to get me further in whatever vision or plan that I have for myself. And then on week 2, I kind of steered away from the book, but the book does still talk about this on the following chapter from where I ended from previous week. It talks about willpower and so forth and so on, about when to use it, and if you use it too much, you might burn yourself out, and so forth and so on. However, I pulled this statement more so from my research online. And it says that behavior, routine, and habit are interconnected tools that significantly contribute to developing self-discipline. By understanding how to cultivate these elements, individuals can build stronger willpower and achieve their goals more effectively. So this has been my focus for this week as I am studying self-discipline, and I will actually share more about this at the end of this video, so stay tuned. I will share more about how to develop routine and habits and how that all works to help you with your self-discipline. And then goal number 6, which I will complete by the end of this week. I'm just going to gather all of my different things that I've learned and being intentional about implementing what I'm learning, and as it relates to these four categories: mind, body, heart, soul, and then there's three subcategories within it, where I'm going to note, how did I do with implementing self-discipline mentally? What did I do to implement? How did I implement self-discipline in my career? How did I implement self-discipline in my finances? So I'll share that with you. And this might be a point where I can dive into my finances, since I'm having to relook at my budget. I just got paid, and I have that goal number 2, to pay off that credit card, which is part of my budget. Is just trying to get that off my budget list and so forth. So I will share that, and these are the following categories that I'll be tracking for the rest of this month. All right, so now let's get to these are my 6 goals. So then I'm going to go ahead and show you this spreadsheet on how I've been doing so far. So goal number 1, I've actually made progress on goal number 1. That would be 5 out of 7 days so far this month. So I've utilized 5 out of 7 days to make progress on this goal. Goal number 2, haven't yet. It's not due until the 10th. So it will only be 4 days, or maybe there'll be fewer days, depending if I actually pay more than what I projected to meet that goal. Goal number 3, losing 10 pounds. I've actually implemented this every single day because I have to monitor my habits and so forth. So this has been implemented every single day through going to the gym, my eating habits, and the choices that I'm making sure that they align with this goal of losing. I can't sit and eat a pint of ice cream if I'm trying to lose 10 pounds. I don't want to snack throughout the night and then lay down on junk food. I need to make healthier choices. And so I'm steering more towards vegetables, fruits, and protein. Low carb, low calorie, high protein, and plenty of water, of course. Goal number 4 is starting a SQL course. There's only one day that I've implemented or done this. I'm going to try my best before the end of this week to work on this more. I only have 2 more sections out of that first module to have that one completed. And then I can move on to module 2. Reading and studying and meditating on self-discipline, because I'm trying to make daily choices that align with my goals and that require me to have self-discipline. I've worked on that all 7 days. That would be a daily thing that I want to implement. And then implementing discipline in all areas of my life. I started that on, I don't know why I keep having this one here, but should be a check mark for the 4th as well. I've started implementing them the beginning of this week, focusing on implementing them into my goal. So developing routines and habits. Why is it important? Well, I took down some notes in my notebook. So again, we have, just to kind of understand, again, in the previous video, I go more in detail. Behaviors, those are any actions, interaction or reaction an individual can perform, encompassing both conscious and unconscious. So those are things that we do automatically or with much thought. So any behavior such as eating, walking, talking, and even thinking can be an example of that. Routines would be a part of behavior. So some of our behaviors, we can build them into routines. If it's something that we do often and we have a way in which we do it every single time, like we have a process in which we do that, it can be a routine. We can establish that into a routine. So a routine is a series of behaviors that are frequently repeated in a specific order, often requiring some conscious effort. So it's a routine because you might have to think through the different steps, but you still have those different steps that you perform the same way every single time. So some behaviors can become routines, and some routines can become habits. Habits are a behavior that becomes automatic, repeated, and often unconscious. So when you've gotten that routine down pat, and it can be something that you can just do on autopilot, as we say, without putting much thought into it, then that is becoming into a habit. It's done automatically. Routines you have to allocate time for. Habits are done automatically, and that's how you can differentiate between them. But today I'm here to talk about how you develop routines and habits. So I'm going to first start off by looking at how you develop routines. So routines involve establishing consistent patterns of behavior to make daily tasks easier and more efficient. To effectively develop routines, identify your goals, break them into manageable steps, and gradually integrate these steps into your daily schedule, making sure to track your progress and adjust as needed. So, number one, to develop routine, you need to identify your goals. What are some of the things that you're wanting to accomplish? For example, my overall goal as it relates to health is being a better, healthier, improving my health, my flexibility. So as I get older, I'm warding off different diseases or different ailments that I could potentially have if I don't, focus on my health. So I'm identifying your goals. Also, with finance, the same thing. Want to save, want to invest, want to build and grow in that area. And just in general, as far as my career and personal, my mental, and so forth. Number two, break them into manageable steps. So for an example, the way in which I'm doing that is I'm setting monthly goals that pretty much covers my overall goals. Because trying to attempt to reach those overall goals within a short time frame is just not going to work. It takes a gradual improvement, or a gradual process to reach those goals at a more reasonable and sustainable pace, so that after reaching them, I can maintain them. That's my main thing now. And so that's why I'm incorporating self-discipline and studying more on that, so that I can better manage and maintain reaching my goals. So one, identify your goals. Two, break them into manageable steps. Three, in order to develop routines, you want to gradually integrate these steps into your daily schedule. So I did that, and I can share that with you on how I did that on the next video. Is I built myself a daily schedule, meaning I scheduled out time, hour by hour. I knew that I wanted to implement going to the gym. I've always said that I don't have enough time to go to the gym. After working, I'm tired. I have this, I have that, I have this, I have that. So I felt like I would use the excuse of never having time. So then I had to actually take a look at my time and better manage the time that I have. And I found a way to squeeze in at least an hour of time at the beginning of my day to be able to go to the gym and still be able to do all the other things that I had to do that day. So gradually integrate these steps into your daily schedule. So I started gradually, started focusing on seeing how it would work with me going to the gym in the morning time. And then maybe some things on my later time got pushed around depending on how much time I spent there. And then I adapted to it as well. Track your progress and adjust as needed. So I adapted to how I felt like. Did it make me feel good to wake up and do this each day? Was I feeling rushed? Was I feeling as though I needed to allocate more time here and take away more time there to make me be able to reach my goal? If I'm having problems getting up in the morning, what can I do? Or I need to probably go to sleep earlier at night, so then I'll have a full night of rest. So I'm adjusting and identifying things that are becoming obstacles with me implementing this routine. And then I kind of go back back through the loop of identifying again the goal, breaking it down into manageable steps, integrating that new schedule in as a routine, and then tracking my progress, and then kind of going back through the loop of developing those routines. So I did want to share just a little bit more information about developing routines. So So, a little bit more breaking down of how routines are developed. They have some detailed breakdowns on how to develop routines. So, they have 4 steps that can help with developing routine. Step number 1, identifying your goals and priority. Identify what you want to achieve. What are your personal and professional goals? What areas of your life do you want to improve? Set realistic and achievable goals. Start with small, manageable goals rather than trying to change everything at once. And I know I have to make sure that I don't fall in that bandwagon because I am an overachiever. I'm a perfectionist. And when I'm gaming, I'm highly motivated. And sometimes that it works to my benefit, but it could also work to my disadvantage because it could cause me to try to do too much at once, which could lend itself to me burning out, meaning I wouldn't be able to sustain this for a long-term achievement. So I have to monitor myself when it comes to defining my goals and priorities and making sure that it's realistic and achievable within the time frame that I'm setting. And then lastly, within that group, prioritize your goal. Focus on the most important goals and create routines to support them. So you might have 100 goals. Well, it's kind of unrealistic to try to do all those 100 goals at once. So we have to prioritize. I had to prioritize which ones are most important. Definitely my health, definitely my finances, definitely, I took something pretty much from every area of my life. Um, I took something from health, finance, career, and then just personal, self discipline, and focused on one goal that aligned in those areas for the month of May. So, number 1, define your goals and priorities. Number 2, design your routine. Break down your task into smaller steps. Divide larger tasks into smaller, more manageable chunks to make them less daunting. So, it goes back to that old saying, how do you eat an elephant one bite at a time? Break it down. And the better you can break it down, or even, for example, the analogy of when we eat our food, it's easier to swallow. The more we chew it, we're helping our body be able to better digest the food. So the more that we break things down, we're making it easier on ourselves to be able to accomplish it because you've made your steps not so steep. You made it so easy to climb versus making it very steep that you have to really work so hard to get there. You're hiking up that mountain. You don't want to make your mountain so steep. So try to just make it a gradual progress. It makes it easier, and you're going to be like the tortoise. Like, for example, I've used that analogy in several of the previous videos. I would rather be the tortoise than the hare. I would rather have a steady progress because that's helping my body build endurance and persistence, which are 2 things that I definitely need in order to reach and maintain my goal. I don't want to backslide. I've backslid so many times. On one of the previous videos about dieting strategy, you can go back and watch that. I shared with you my progression on dieting. And as you can see, why am I here at 239? So I had to have some backsliding that was happening, even though I had some strategies that actually worked for me. I've backslid. So underneath design your routine, you want to create a schedule. I've talked about that. I'll share with you on my hour by hour schedule and how that has changed over time. Start with small, consistent actions. Pair new habits with existing ones. Organize your routine. So consider organizing them by areas of wellness, mental. So I've done that. Start with small, consistent actions. That means that few simple routines and gradually add more as you get comfortable. You don't want to try to put too much into your schedule that it makes it so hard to accomplish. Start off by implementing one thing at a time. Number 3, so let me go back through the things that they have here. So number 1, define your goals and priority. Number 2, design your routine. Number 3, implement and adjust your routine. So number 3, implement and adjust your routine. You want to be consistent. Stick to your routine as much as possible, even when you're feeling unmotivated. Track your progress. Monitor your routine to see what's working and what needs adjustment. Adjust your routine as needed. Don't be afraid to make changes to your routine if it's not meeting your needs. Be patient and kind to yourself. It takes time to build new habits, so don't get discouraged if you slip up occasionally. Reward yourself in milestones. Celebrate your success to stay motivated. So that's underneath number 3 on how you should be able to implement and adjust your routine. I can share about that as I've built my schedule. I've had to adapt it several times, and I can go through that in detail in a later video on how my schedule has changed moment by moment dealing with. And I wasn't hard on myself, especially when you have things going on. Like, for example, I have this weekend, I'm going to be out of town. Next weekend, I'm going to be out of town again because I have a wedding that I've been invited to attend. So I have to adjust my goal on making money. I have to make sure that I stick to my goal on losing weight, because that's just something I don't want to risk. Even when I go out of town, I want to make sure that I'm still making those decisions and so forth. So just to get a tidbit in there. And number 4, so let me go through the steps again, just so we can retain those. So more detailed breakdown on how to develop routines. Number 1, define your goal and priorities. Number 2, design your routine. Number 3, implement and adjust your routine. And then number 4, here are just some examples of routine, just to give you an idea of things that you can set, some of your behaviors that you can set as a routine versus leaving them as just sporadic behaviors. So you can have a morning routine. That's when you wake up at the same time, hydrate, eat a healthy breakfast, exercise, meditate, or do some mindful breathing. You can have a workday routine. Break up your workday into blocks, take short breaks, and prioritize tasks. You can have an evening routine. Wind down with a relaxing activity, plan for the next day, practice good sleep hygiene, or reflect on your day. And you can have a weekly daily prep routine. Set aside time to prepare for the week ahead and for the next day, including packing lunches, preparing outfits, and organizing your workspace. By following these steps and tailoring them to your individual needs and goals, you can develop routines that help you achieve your goals, improve your overall well-being, and create a more structured and productive life. And it just makes it so much easier. When you plan, without a plan, you're planning to fail. So when you're planning, when you're taking the intention of thinking through how you're going to get from point A to point B, B to C, you're making it easier on yourself. You're making your day easy because you already have in your mind how I'm going to be able to go to the gym. How am I going to be able to spend time with my son after school on his homework? How would I be? You've already got it planned out. You got a plan that you can follow. Even if you might be a little bit off from the plan, at least you have a plan, so then you can know when you're off of the plan, so you can find a way to get back on track if it's possible. And then if it's not possible, you can always adjust the plan to make it fit. If it's not working, why force it? Try to figure out why is it not working and figure out what can I do to make it work. You might have to give and take some in order to get that to be something that you can work with. All right, so minimize this real quick. All right, so moving on from developing routines, how do you develop habits? So, developing habits involves making desired behaviors automatic through consistent repetition and creating a supportive environment. To effectively develop habits, you want to, number 1, identify triggers. Number 2, reduce cravings. Number 3, make the negative habit difficult. We're talking about creating good habits. So there is a such thing as bad habits, but we're want to steer from those. So make those negative habits difficult. And number 4, uncover the root cause of the behavior. So I can talk about my habit of eating, when I eat, and so forth and so on. So I know my trigger is like the whole reward thing of, oh, I don't had a hard day. I worked so hard. I need to reward myself with this big thing of ice cream at night. And so I'm sitting, relaxing once I've gotten my son settled in the bed. And now I have some me time where I can actually wind myself down, do something that I like watch a TV show or just relaxing in the bed or whatever the case may be. And so I tend to snack throughout the night, which was a trigger of just having a long day and exhausted. And then I'm feeling like, oh, I needed a reward and I'm having a craving for eating those things. So I had to focus on I had to focus on the trigger and the cravings. I knew what my cravings were, and then make the negative habit difficult. So at one point in time, to kind of get my body to be more aware of and not being so easily led to fall for those temptations, I set a structured schedule where I said, oh, okay, so I see that I'm not really managing myself well during the nighttime when it comes to eating. So I set a time frame on when I'm able to eat. So it was from 9 a.m. until 3 p.m. Very significantly far away from my nighttime routine. So when I got myself in the habit of eating during those hours, I was actually on that Slimfast diet that I talked about in a previous video, where you have 3 meals and 3 snacks. And out of those 3 meals, you 2 meal replacers. You use a Slimfast meal replacers drink, whether it's ready to drink or it's the powder where you actually mix it yourself. I did the ready to drinks because I just wanted to have it, it was easy. I didn't have to do anything to prepare it. Just grab the bottle and go. So I would only eat from 9 to 3, and oh, it helped out tremendously. I didn't have any cravings. And now I'm more so aware of it at nighttime. So even if I did choose to have something at nighttime, I'm choosing something healthier. So I made that negative habit of snacking on junk food at nighttime very difficult so that it no longer is an obstacle for me. And then number 4, uncover the root cause of the behavior. So I uncovered that because I was in my mind thinking I'm rewarding myself after a long day. I'm having me time, and I can still have those things, but I can have them with making better health choices. So to kind of give more info on developing a habit. So how do you develop a habit? Oops, that went away there. Let me put it back there. All right, so making desired behaviors automatic through a consistent repetition and creating a supportive environment. So here's more detailed breakdown on developing good habits. So there's a total of 4. I love 4-steppers because it just makes it easy to manage when you only have a few steps. So number 1, understanding the habit loop. Number 2, building a good habit. Number 3, breaking a bad habit. And then some additional tips. So number 1, I'll go more in detail about the habit loop, which is the cue, routine, and reward. I'll go more in detail on the next topic that I'm talking about. Number 2, building a good habit. So you want to identify triggers and reduce cravings, similar to what I said on the previous slide or on this slide here. Make the negative habit difficult, uncover the root cause, develop a plan, create a supportive environment, reward yourself, but positively that actually align with your goal. I talked about the reward. Don't want to reward yourself that's gonna not align with losing weight. So I don't want to reward myself with eating a whole bunch of junk food when it's gonna pretty much counteract all the hard work that I'm achieving on actually reaching my health goal. So I want to give myself healthier rewards. Start small and gradually increase. Make it a part of your schedule. Track your process. Be patient. So that's underneath um, building a good habit. Breaking a bad habit. Acknowledge the habit. Replace the bad habit with a good one. Eliminate triggers. Make the bad habit difficult and build new routines. So I kind of talked about that in the bullet points here. Just to kind of give you more, because sometimes it can be a struggle to break a bad habit. So I'm gonna actually give more detail on that. So acknowledge the habit, become aware of the triggers and the behavior itself. Replace the bad habit with a good one. Substitute the negative behavior with the positive one that fulfills the same need. For I can use my dad as an example. He was a smoker. And so he went cold turkey. I can give a whole story about that, but just to keep it short, he started using toothpicks because that kind of gave him that feel of having a cigarette in his mouth. So he would do the toothpick, and he always had a toothpick behind his ear, piece of chewing gum right there stuck behind his ear with the toothpick. And that would be his way of having that need, I guess that feel or that gratification of having something similar to a cigarette in his mouth. He would have a toothpick. And so that's something that he replaced. That was something that worked for him. So there might be something that worked for you that you feel can replace whatever that sensory need is of feeling as if you have that item that is actually a bad habit. Making the bad habit difficult. Increase the effort required to engage in a bad habit. For example, my example of, well, there's no way for me to snack during the nighttime if that's not my time of eating. I've said it way earlier than the nighttime, so I made it nearly impossible if I'm actually going along with my plan of eating only during the hours of 9 to 3. And that builds self discipline and endurance as well. Some additional tips is to seek support, tell others about your goals, and seek encouragement and accountability. So I guess the form of me creating this video is holding myself accountable and where I'm sharing. But you can also do that with your friends, your families, or people that you see on day to day. Also, I've done that through going to a gym membership, not my regular gym membership, which is traditional, but this was more so a group session where I would take class. I took a class. I actually went there for almost a full year before I stopped and then started back just doing my regular gym routine or gym membership. But that was a very supportive case because I learned so much through the trainers, the different exercises that they had us doing. I never would have thought to do. And they're a very high intense workout or exercises that I actually include now in my schedule when I go to the gym, in my routine. Imagine your future, visualize the benefits of new habits, be mindful, pay attention to your thoughts and feelings around the habit. Self awareness is very important. Don't be afraid to experiment. Try different strategies to find what works best for you. So don't ever have a plan that you can't steer from. Don't want to have a plan that you can't steer from. So because life happens, you have to adjust and adapt to be able to make it doable. So that actually talks about this loop here. So what is this routine habit loop? So sometimes it's referred to routine loop, sometimes it's referred to a habit loop. So it says by understanding the habit routine loop, new habits and routines can be successfully implemented, and that's exactly what I want to do. I want to successfully implement these routines and habits. And this here for my studies shows me that this understanding this loop here, how it actually works neurologically in our mind, will better help me figure out the triggers and so forth to be able to adapt my routine, my habit, and therefore receiving a reward. So, what is this loop? It's just a neurological feedback process that describes how the habit or routines are formed and maintained. So, we can form and maintain these habits by understanding that every routine has a cue, which is a trigger. It's something in our mind that triggers us. Like, for example, I was talking about I hardly ever, well, really, I stopped using alarms to wake me up in the morning. I'm relying on my brain trigger that is used to me waking up at a certain time. And for years, it actually works in my benefit where it would be programmed in me that my brain would know when to wake up, and I would wake up at the same time every morning, about 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock, whatever my routine is. So my brain is triggering that for me. My body knows, oh, time to get up. And then the routine happens. I actually get up. I actually start getting myself ready, brushing my teeth, getting my son up, getting him ready for school so that we can be out of the house. And then the reward is that I'm not having to rush. I'm already at the gym. I'm able to meet my gym goal. I'm up early enough. I have enough time to work out in the gym. And there's so many different rewards behind me actually making gym a part of my morning routine. Because now I don't have to rush. We're already ready, so I can go straight. I'm able to get him there to school, be sitting there waiting for them to start the line to get the kids into school and so forth. So the reward is that. And so you just keep on that loop and to establish routines and habits. So I did want to share in closing just some ideas on establishing routines and habit. This is something that I studied when I was doing my Slimfast. I was studying a little bit and researching and just reading different articles. And I came across this that says, how long does it take to develop a routine? The answer is it typically takes between 18 and 254 days to form a new habit or routine. So from 18 to 254 days, that's how long it takes to form a new habit or routine, which with an average of 66 days for a new behavior to become automatic. And then they have some different rules and things. And this was based on actually a research study. Like they did a research on this, and therefore they were able to come up with this gauge of a time that and it's actually true because I actually applied it through implementing my schedule. When I implemented my schedule, at about 18 days, I had it down packed. It was like I didn't have to set reminders in my phone, which I still have it on my calendar, but I used to do like alarm reminders. Like I don't use alarms to get up, but once I'm up, I use alarms to move me throughout my day. Like to know, okay, am I on track? This is the time that I need to leave in order to make it to the gym so I can have enough time to work out for this set of time that I'm planning to. Okay, I'm at the gym. So I have an alarm that goes off that lets me know, okay, time to leave so that you can make it to the school to be able to drop him off first thing so that as soon as they open up the lines to take the kids, you'll already be in the line so I don't waste time. And then from there, I have a alarm that lets me know, okay, from that time until the time that I need to be heading. Sometimes I have to go into the office. I have to drive. So it didn't take my body. I had to set those alarms, but it didn't take long. It took about 18 days for me to get it down once I kept it the same. And I just naturally know when to move throughout that progression of my daily schedule. So 18 days on the low end and 254 days on the high end. So the 254 days, I did want to state the point that as you can see, 254 days is almost a year. So some things are going to just take longer to get down. So then I know I have to be patient and allow it to form. Just keep working on it. You may not be able to achieve it or succeed it in 18 days, but as the more you try and adapt and readjust and try to make it work, eventually it will work if you stay consistent. And then just so I've kind of gone over all of those. I just want to kind of share that last tidbit. So this is the end of my video. I've shared with you guys how to develop routines and habits. and also different tidbits in between, along with showing you my progress on my monthly goals. So I hope that what I share can be used, or I'm hoping when I look back on this is the whole point of why I'm making this available, is to hold myself accountable. So when I look back on this months and months from now, I can say, oh, I remember where I was in that point and I was struggling with this, but now I've done better with it. I can see the progression of myself. So it makes me push on further towards my goals and reaching better goals. So until next time, see you guys later and be blessed.